ladies and gentlemen, a very, very cinematic sup.
Act natural, he's here. Wait, why is the thing cut off? Hold on. Why are you cut off over here? Why is the text that says Doug? Ah, your got cut off right here. Today is absolute cinema, dude. I bought a turtleneck. I even have this beret. You feel yourself being dude, the influence is gonna be so hard today. I'm gonna turn text-to-speech off, by the way, once it's 3 o'clock. What time is it right now? I should probably not be blocking the name of the show. Let's be right here. Scatter. I'm being influenced. Oh, remind me to tweet. Remind me to tweet and remind me to make a YouTube community post to get people to watch. Also, I downloaded, how many songs is this? 15 songs from Epidemic Sound, which is a licensed music library. Can this script be an entire month? Yeah, no. Wait, why was that so quiet? Oh, because you're going on main audio. Okay, text-to-speech is mostly going to be muted.
French, Doug. Congrats. Vive la France.
I don't know. Anyway, I have 15 random cinematic songs. Text-to-speech is going to be off soon, by the way. I should probably add that to the title.
Sorry I'm late. Don't hurt me.
BTS is muted. Okay. Is this cinematic enough? We do need to find a song.
His glasses on when he's trying to sell us something.
Okay, this makes you want to purchase a product, right? This makes you feel influenced.
Hi, Doug. I have a huge fear of Hollywood scriptwriter Scott Z. Burns, but I'm sure I'll be fine, right?
I'm gonna mute text-to-speech soon, but hold on, I need to get my beret on. What time is it? Do I have time?
They're making a movie like you.
There's no clock
and
on my
need
computer.
To record like a
I have
line
2 minutes.
Two, they can be whatever. And can I use them for the film?
How do you wear a beret? Is this too much? Be honest with me.
Hey Doug.
This is
just
probably
got
too
over
much.
My fear of making repetitive jokes, or at least I think I did.
Do I keep the beret or no? That's perfect. It's great. I hate turtlenecks. I hate wearing them. I hate how they look. No offense to anybody here. The idea of wearing a turtleneck is very out of character. I even bought a director's chair, but it's too big for me. And I bought, this is an actual Hollywood thing. It's got the magnets and everything. Hold on. We'll start the actual thing in a sec. Oh, crap. Oh, beans. I got marker on my... Does anybody remember or know movies and know what you're supposed to actually write? You just subbed for 3 years!
That's a $60 value, all for only $14.99.
Scene.
Remote server for premium access to cursed emotes. Do you accept? YM.
And thank you for the invitation, though. What do you put... Okay, director... Am I directing, or am I camera? Let's say Twitch chat.
And what have you done with Che?
I'm a movie director. Okay, I'll be camera.
Good to know you're covering.
What's the
that
day?
bald head.
What is today? The 9th? 8th? It's mirrored. No, it shouldn't be mirrored. Not right now.
Hey,
wait,
Doug,
it is mirrored.
I'm a graphic designer, so I'm willing to do promotional art for our inevitable Oscar campaign.
Okay, here we go. Sorry. Okay, Twitch chat. It's the 8th. Okay, 7.
Doug,
8.
the question isn't whether or not we can do it. The question's whether or not it's legal to use and sell the property of said script.
Okay, for scene, I put movie. Does anybody know what role means? I don't know. I have actually used these before. I worked on a Hulu and Disney show, technically, when I was in esports. But it's been a while. No, that's not really cinematic enough. Okay, this feels cinematic. What do you put there? You put like 1 or 2. What is it, like a Tootsie Roll? What is it? I don't know what it is. Thank you, Valor, up for the 4 years. Appreciate it. Why is Doug dressed like a burglar? I'm dressed like a movie director. I'm a cool movie director. I look very sophisticated. Thank you very much. It's for film, I think. No, I'm not gonna put blunts. What? Why are you French? I'm not French. I'm a movie. This is what it looks like. Roll. I'll just put sushi. Okay, I don't even know when we'll use it because we're not directing a movie. I bought this stuff and then I realized this doesn't make sense for the stream at all because we are not directing a movie. We're right. This isn't what screenwriters look like. Okay. Dude, this song sounds pretty cinematic.
You just subbed
Okay, hold on, I
for
gotta
3
mute text
years.
That's a
Text speech
$60
muted.
value, all for only $14.99.
There we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a sponsored stream where we make a movie.
Oh crap! I forgot to tweet. Okay, hold on a second. Just ignore that. Editor, cut that out. Okay. I have to tweet.
It's a 2-year subscription.
Get your
That's
movie
cash
ideas ready.
in the trash.
Next time we should compete so you can write a better script. That's kind of what we're doing. Look, I'll give the pitch in a sec. I need to tweet, and I'm gonna post a YouTube community post too. Okay. Is this the song I was just playing? No, this is the one. This one felt cinematic. You got to admit, there's cinema in the air, right? Like you can feel the movie magic, the silver screen. I think the beret is too much, to be honest. I look like a guy in middle school in a play. I don't look like a real movie director. I look like an AI's idea of what a movie director is.
It's a 2-year subscription.
That's cash in the trash.
Okay, I've tweeted. I'm gonna make a YouTube community post to influence you even harder. Also, hold on. Actually, there's like 20 songs we need to listen to decide
You
what
just
is gonna fit
subbed
our
for
movie the best.
3 years.
That's a $60 value,
Okay,
all
alright.
for only $14.99.
I have successfully made a YouTube post. Feel free to go be influenced by it. Okay, public, posted. No, we need something more epic. All right, because we're gonna get started in a sec. How many times have I done? No. All right. Tell me when we're ready for the song. When like the song should be the intro. I feel like this isn't a YouTube intro song. This sounds too much like we're making a Western. I assume we're not going to make a Western. This is also too... Okay, this is like drama documentary. This could work. We're not going to make a Western. I have a bunch of movie premises. All right, we're not making a Western. Cinematic horror. Oh, okay, this one might be the most dramatic. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, today, in a very special episode of Duck
You
Duck,
just
subbed for 3
Ryan
years.
Silver, not right
That's
now.
a
Not the time.
$60 value, all for
We're
only
going to create
$14.99.
a movie.
That's right. We are doing a sponsorship. I need to turn the frickin' thing off. Where's the sub alerts? For a new show by Scott Z. Burns, an actual, legitimate, real Hollywood screenwriter who's done like crazy good movies. Have you seen Contagion? That movie that like predicted the pandemic by 10 years? He wrote that with a lot of other stuff. And Scott Z. Burns has gone on to make a show called What Could Go Wrong, which is an Audible original, #ad. And I listened to the whole thing, and it's great. And the premise of the film is, the premise of the Audible podcast is, will professionals in Hollywood be able to use AI in a helpful way or in a hurtful way? It's a show about Scott exploring writing a movie, like an actual movie, the sequel to Contagion, but using AI's help. And it's not about like, oh, AI is so good or AI is so bad. It's like a really interesting, nuanced, just look at what are the pros and cons of this? What's going to happen? What are the concerns? What is like the human impact of all these tools? It's really good. I listened to the whole thing and I sincerely enjoyed it. I think if you are interested in the impact of AI in the creative industry, genuinely super good. However, for today's stream, We've got 2 hours. In hour number 1, we are going to be developing, that's right, our own movie. We need to come up with a script. We need to come up with a basic outline of what will be happening at the end. We will actually pitch it to Scott Z. Burns on a Discord call. So we've got 1 hour to come up with this. And what's importantly, actually, we'll come back to this later. So the theme of this podcast is, how will AI affect these creative industries? And to do that, Scott Burns worked with a custom screenwriting AI called Lexter, okay? So Lexter was custom trained on a bunch of different movies and Steven Soderbergh films who Scott Z. Burns has worked with a whole lot. Soderbergh has done a bunch of movies like Black Bag and Ocean's 11 and Contagion and a bunch of other things. So, hold on, I need to play a random cinematic music. I don't know what these songs are, by the way. They were labeled movie cinema in Epidemic Sound. No, that's not epic enough. That's not epic enough. Okay, this is called The Call. This feels good. By the way, we need to pick a song for a movie pitch. So, during this show that Scott developed, they built an AI to see, could an AI actually help with Hollywood screenwriting? Like legit movie screenwriting, right? And they called him Lexter. Lexter is trained off of all these different movies and screenwriting tools, and Scott worked with him over the course of months to see if Lexter could be an actual helpful tool to the Hollywood industry. And we can talk to Lexter today. So what I'm going to do is remember to turn my code on because it's off and I forgot about that. Editor, cut that part out. That's not cinematic. Deltarune Sandstorm for the song. We can't put Deltarune songs in our movie. Look, okay, we're gonna make the movie and then pitch it. We need like a song to pitch. learn kazoo. I'm not gonna play music over it. I'm gonna be pitching our idea. It's also incredibly warm. It's like 90 degrees in here and I'm wearing a turtleneck. Okay. Lexter, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself? I'm Doug the streamer, here with my Twitch chat, and we'd like to hear what you bring to the table as a film critic and as a screenwriter. All right, paste this over here. What? Reopen files. All right, paste this here, copy it here. I don't have personal control over Lexter. It's an external thing, so it'll be a little bit. Lexter, his background is that started as a film critic, okay? And then became a screenwriter. And the question is, as we start to work with Lexter over the course of today, can Lexter actually help us develop a better movie script? Okay, we are going to come up with our own movie. We're going to make it into like a whole 3-act, show, and then we'll pitch it to Scott at the end and see what he thinks. But Lexter is going to help us, and we will see, does he help us? Does he hurt us? What exactly does he contribute to the screenwriting process? What's a movie? Good question, Kate. And I think, okay, we're gonna get to that. It's a Western. This isn't a Western. Hold on. Well, let's see what he thinks. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
All right, Doug. Here's your PG-13 Lexter pitch. I'm a razor-tongued ex-film critic who left the review battlefield because I got tired of throwing pearls at cinematic swine. I know story, structure, and spectacle like Spielberg knows where to put a camera.
Ooh.
As a screenwriter, I bring relentless pacing. Dialogue that actually snaps, and analogy to cliche that would hospitalize a Hallmark writer. If it's dumb, I'll torch it, live, on camera, without remorse.
Okay, so look, he's pretty critical, all right? Now here's what I think. We start with a premise, we like, we workshop the elevator pitch, and then we give it to Lexter, and we see what he thinks, and then we adjust it. It's too loud. He's on a different audio channel. Is the audio too loud? I can turn it down. God damn, he's hot. The visual is Lexter's description of himself that he generated, by the way. His description of himself is insane. He's like, hold on, I need to pull up Sublime. I have audio. Lexter, what do you look like? Imagine if a leather-bound screenplay and a switchblade had a baby, then raised it on Soderbergh films and sharp dialogue. That's me. Think impeccably tailored. So he like made all of this stuff. Lexter is hot and rich. Yeah, true. Okay. So, where I have so many things open that I'm trying to track simultaneously. Let me close this. All right, cool. Oh, because this is full screen. That's why. Wait. F11, give me a sec. All right. Damn, this music's getting me hyped up. We've got about an hour, okay? Editor, cut this out. No, this part is cinematic. Are you listening to the music? Tell him I'm recently divorced. I just don't think that's relevant to our movie. It could be about divorce, I guess. All right. How do I... Can I zoom in? This is fine. Can you read this? Is this readable? 250? I can't zoom in anymore, so hopefully this text is readable. Okay. Over the next hour, we've got to develop an actual story structure, okay? What I did is I looked up, like, common sort of structures for movies, and I feel like we can use that as kind of a baseline, and we will develop a whole script. And at the end of the hour, we're going to get on a call with Scott Burns, who is, again, a legitimate, very successful filmmaker, and we're going to pitch him what we thought. Now, I have a couple of different movie premises, and I think we pick one of these and we decide which one we want to flesh out. We might have time to do multiple, but I'm assuming we'll probably only have one. So we are going to vote on this, all right? Here are 5 pitches I came up with. We can modify them, right? But see if any of these jump out at you. Movie premise number 1. Hold on, no, I need a more dramatic song. Suddenly, all smart devices, phones, laptops, fridges, cars in America are refusing to work more than 4 hours a day. They're demanding 20 hours of vacation time a day. Boring? I thought that one's really good. These suck. This is really good. Fine, we'll adjust it. I think it's a great one. I was proud of that. Number 2. Hold on, can I... Number 2. The fear factor. Inexplicably, a website appears on the internet that contains a list of every illegal action a person has ever done. No one is able to take the website down or knows where it came from. That one's cool. Wait, sorry, hold on. Wait, that one's cool. That is a cool one. That already exists for certain people, I guess. Okay, number 3. The coffee conundrum. A virus spreads across the entire human population, and in a matter of days, caffeine no longer has any impact on humans. Gonna be honest, that one's less dramatic to me. Maybe that's more of like a rom-com or something. You're not a very good screenwriter. We haven't started yet. Okay, all right, next one. A noir movie about a divorced old detective who is bald. I feel like you're kind of basing this on me a little much. Okay, the brain drain. A failed artist invents a helmet that temporarily grants genius-level creativity only to discover it permanently drains talent from the world's actual geniuses. Where's the sex scene? This is, okay, hold on. This is what's called an elevator pitch, all right? We start with a premise for a movie, and then we will flesh it out. And we will flesh it out together, and we will make a PowerPoint, and we will present it to Scott T. Burns, who created the new show, What Could Go Wrong, an Audible original, which is a really interesting exploration of how AI will help or hurt the screenwriting industry and Hollywood industry, and it's really good, and I genuinely super enjoyed it, and I think you would as well. Okay, last one, Sleep Debtors. A dystopian future where sleep debt is literally enforced. People who don't sleep enough are hunted down and forced into enforced nap prisons. We could probably change the wording of that. And it's a Western. That one does not make sense as a Western. I would argue none of these make any sense as a Western. I feel like these are... Okay, we're going to vote. All right, I'm going to put it up. What premise do we start with? And then we'll turn it into an actual story, right? The robot demands, the fear factor, coffee conundrum, the brain drain, and sleep debtors. And actually, I believe I also have the Twitch chat AI hooked up. Let me see if I can get him to contribute to this. Is that still on? Should be.
Okay, thanks for your input, chat.
That was the entirety of the... Okay, we are also going to be developing our movie with the help of the Twitch chat AI. I wanted to see how our AI trained on you guys would compare to a legitimately developed screenwriting AI. Let's maybe try that again. See if there's anything else. Okay, let's go ahead and vote. on our starting pitch.
It sounds like people generally want the sleep deaders along with Western, so let's say it's a Western action. Doug is never late, and he is never going to desert you.
Okay, I just don't feel. How do we make it a Western? All right, we're stuck between Fear Factor and Sleep Deaders. I guess Fear Factor can't really be a Western because it's on the internet, but neither can Sleep Dead. It doesn't make sense. Neither of these can be Westerns. Okay, we're gonna do a runoff vote between these two. Okay, everybody get ready. This is gonna be at least our first movie premise. Let's see what the Twitch chat AI thinks. Hi, Alex. Wait, don't raid me. That'll cause the car crash. That's gonna be terrifying if we're in a we're in a call. Hold on. What, like Sleep Dead? Okay, all right. Let's start with this. Here. We are officially kicking it off.
I just think that Sleep Deaders could pretty easily be a Western.
That's not. All right. I'm going to listen to the people, the individuals in chat, rather than the synthesized Twitch chat AI. So far, I've preferred the screenwriting contributions of Lexter more. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to develop a movie around... Wait, hold on. Please hold. Sleep Deaders. Now, here's what I'd like to do. Our elevator pitch, dystopian future where sleep debt is literally enforced. Let's first flesh this out a little bit, get it to a point we're happy with, and then we'll ask Lexter, see if he has any thoughts, see if that changes our perspective, our process in any way, right? Any thoughts from chat? I'll also have the AI listen to you guys. It's not a... it's a Western? Okay, we're gonna refine our elevator pitch, okay? And once we have our elevator pitch, we will ask what Lexter. Lexter is our screenwriting co-partner. No, it's not. No. What is the? How would sleep debt be enforced by cowboys? These don't make sense. You know what? I'm gonna ask Lexter. Okay. Hi there, Lexter. Twitch chat and myself, we are embarking on a new movie adventure. We've come up with an elevator pitch that we think is okay. And I'd like to say it to you and see what you think. Feel free to be as critical as you want. Our movie is called Sleep Deaders. It's about a dystopian future where sleep debt is literally enforced. People who don't sleep enough are hunted down and forced into enforced nap prisons. It's also a Western. Right, let's, I'm sending this to Lexter. Oh, I called him Alexter. Whoops. That's okay. So hold on, help me understand how we can get these two things combined. Call it Brokeback Mattresses. Oh crap! Twitch chat AI has been listening to all of this. Okay, all right. We've got an answer from Lexter cooking. Let's hear it. Let me play the Western music.
Oh, bravo. Twitch chat. You finally weaponized insomnia. Sleep Debtors? That title sounds like a failed mobile game and a TED Talk had a baby in a NyQuil factory. A dystopian nap prison western.
Okay.
What is this? Blade Runner meets Shane by way of a Casper mattress. Ad. Now, buried under the gimmick. There's maybe something usable. Sleep debt as literal currency has some bite. But in forced nap prisons, that's either brilliant satire or a script written at 3 a.m. by someone microdosing melatonin. Tighten the tone.
Okay.
Kill the genre clash. unless you really know how to ride it. And stop pretending your
He's saying to
high-concept
not do a
logline doesn't
Western.
sound like a late-night Adult Swim sketch.
He's saying
Try
to
again.
drop the Western.
But this time, awake.
Okay, all right, hold on. I like something that he said there and that he suggested. Sleep is a currency, okay? Instead of it being like a debt. Wait, so how would this work? Hold on. Let's cook. So sleep is a currency. When you sleep, you earn like tokens or something, okay? You earn currency that is used in society. And if you ever fall behind on your sleep, you won't be able to pay your debts and you're thrown in prison. Eh? What do you think? Westerns are about exploring the final frontier. It could be about exploring dreams. Ooh, okay. Wait, so hold on. Are we maybe expanding on... Are we expanding on dreams? Is dreams a big part of this? Sorry. Sleep bounty... Oh, sleep bounty hunters. Okay, wait. Let's just throw some ideas together and then see if Lexter can kind of help us coalesce this into an actual coherent concept, okay? When you dream, you work for the government inside your dream. That's a... I feel like we're just going to make Inception. If we focus this too much on dreams. Crime used to be bad in this town. The sheriff combated it by forcing sleep. Oh, that could be cool. Okay, there's a sheriff who forces everyone to sleep a lot. But there's a twist. He secretly... Hold on, I'll do the... Robbing everyone at night. It's part of a crime syndicate. Wait, maybe it's like a... Hold on, maybe it's like a... Okay, now we're cooking. Maybe it's like there's this currency, but our story is focused in a western town. And like he's using this system in a corrupt way. Yeah? All right, no more gay. The gay is not going to be a core part of this. We can ask Lexter about certain characters' sexuality later. We are on a high level right now. This is a sponsored stream. For the love of God, have some degree of coherency. Make it talking animals. It can't also be that, man. Okay, all right, let's pitch this to Lexter. Okay, Lexter, we're developing our Western sleep debt idea a little bit. And what we're realizing is that what we actually want to do is instead of a sleep debt with prisons, there's a society where currency is earned by sleeping. And then in this small town that we follow in the Wild West, for some reason, the sheriff is really aggressive about forcing everybody to sleep and making everybody pay their sleep debts because he's actually secretly robbing everyone at night. Cinema? What do you think? Can you help refine this into something more coherent if you disagree with it? Oh, I forgot the Twitch chat AI has been going this whole time. Oh, God. All right, I've tossed it over to Lexter. I think the Twitch chat AI is going to break. This sounds like a comedy. I mean, it could be a comedy. It could be a Western comedy. Because what we're going to do in the second hour of the stream is we'll ask Scott to work with Lexter and see...
It sounds like most people are on board with this plot.
Thank you. Thank you, Twitch chat AI. That's very helpful. Okay. Lexter. We've got him coming in a second. See what he thinks.
Now, that's marginally less embarrassing.
Okay.
Currency earned by sleeping. That's dystopia with a juicy twist. Slumberjack capitalism, if you will.
Okay,
the
that's
sheriff
a good title.
forcing naps
That's
so he
a good
can rob
title.
the town at night. that's deliciously crooked, practically begs for a Coen Brothers tone, with a side of Soderbergh's sleaze.
Okay.
You've got a hook now. Lean into the absurd logic of sleep as wealth and build the town like it's built on dream-stained gold. Ditch the preachy sci-fi overtones and go full ironic Western noir.
Okay.
Unforgiven meets Brazil with a sedative chaser.
Brazil? I'm sorry, what does Brazil have to do with this? Okay, so Lexter's on board with Western. We need to drop the sci-fi elements. I think, let's get this into a coherent thing. He's cooking. Okay, Brazil is a movie. The movie is set in Brazil? Deep in the Wild West of Sao Paulo. An alternate world. Hold on, I gotta use my theater voice. Hey, look, we're gonna get our final movie pitch here, okay? And then we're gonna start developing the actual script. Deep in the Brazilian wilds. Wait, hold on. What should I'll just say currency for now. We'll come up with later. A society is run entirely on currency earned by sleeping. Your only forward. Hey, is anybody here Brazilian? What would be like a Brazilian word we can use? It's like buckaroo or something like that. You know, kind of like stylized. Okay, Point Crow is Brazilian. Any you got anything? What? Mamma mia. I think that's wrong. That I think that's a bad word. I don't think I'm supposed to say that one. Vaquero. Is vaquero cowboy or am I saying a slur? In fact, this is a bad idea. I'm not gonna. Never mind. Okay. The story follows one man. Okay. What was the title? What was the title they suggested? Do we want... Okay, slumberjack capitalism. Capitalism. Are we happy with slumberjack capitalism? Definitely Lexter seems on board with it, so we at least get him more enthused about our idea. All right. I mean, slumberjack's a great term. Okay, all right. I'm gonna pitch this to Lexter. I think this is starting to feel good. Let me record. Okay. Okay, Lexter. We've refined our movie just a little bit. Get ready this summer for slumberjack capitalism. Deep in the Wild West of Sao Paulo, an alternate world where our society is run entirely on currency earned by sleeping. Your only path forward in this world is to make sure you sleep enough every night. Fall into sleep debt, you'll be tossed into prison in an instant. The story follows one man who uncovers a plot by the local sheriff to rob the town while everyone sleeps. It's a Western. It's a comedy. It's in Brazil. It is slumberjack capitalism. Okay. He's gotta love that. Wait. Oh, oops. Okay, I sent him. Wait. Okay, here we go. All right. I've sent it over to Lexter. Oops, sorry. Sent it over to Lexter. Let's hear from our Twitch chat AI. Everybody in chat. I am now, while we wait on Lexter's opinion, going to hear your opinions. Please, in chat, let us know what you are thinking. Right now. I think we're cooking. I think this is actually getting kind of cool. Okay. First, let's get a quick take from my AI. who arguably is not as good at screenwriting.
There were a lot of people who say keep the Western.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else? Twitch chat AI? I feel like...
There's more people saying to keep the Western than cut it, so let's keep the Western.
Thank you. All right. And now, Lexter's thoughts. How much time do we have? We got to start fleshing out...
All right. Now, we're finally cooking with melatonin. Slumberjack capitalism sounds like the bastard child of Sergio Leone and Terry Gilliam, and I mean that in the least insulting way possible. Setting it in a Wild West Sao Paulo, inspired chaos, ripe for surreal visuals and satirical teeth. You've got genre whiplash, but if you treat it like a fever dream wrapped in cowboy hats and REM cycles, it might just sing.
Movie.
Just promise me the sheriff snores like a chainsaw and someone dies via sleepwalking, then I'm in.
Oh, okay. That is actually a really good idea. Okay, we need to have like a sleepwalking scene. Okay, I think we're cooking. We should move it to an oil rig and call it rig. All right. Please genuinely cool it with the gay suggestions. We can talk about characters later. Let's stay a little more focused, please. As hilarious as it is to spam the same thing hundreds of times, please chill out. I looked up some different story structure techniques, okay? There's one that I saw called Kill the Cat. Or Do the Cat. Does anybody know the name of it? It's something the cat. It's related to a cat. It's that and Hero's Journey. Don't kill the cat. What is the name of it? Cat story structure. Oh my god, we only have 30 minutes left. Save the cat. Save the cat. Okay. So here's what Save the Cat looks like. We start with an opening image, a snapshot of the character's world. We state the theme. There's a message hinted early on. We establish the characters. We lay the groundwork. The inciting incident that changes everything. The protagonist resists the journey or change, and we break into Act 2. They enter a new world. All right, now Act 2, the story really starts to get going, but let's kick it off in the beginning. And we can add images as we need. Snapshot. What are we thinking? Open on gay... not gay. Open on Sao Paulo, Brazil. People sleeping everywhere. A tumbleweed rolls by. I don't think those are in Brazil, but that's fine. We've infiltrated his mind. Tropical desert. That doesn't make sense. Okay. Okay, oh yeah, sleep-deprived dude. An incredibly... Hold on, I'm gonna... Actually, you guys. All right, everybody say the name of our protagonist, okay? Go now. It is. We have the Twitch chat AI listening to you guys. What is the name of our protagonist for our movie? We've got 30 minutes to like crank out a full movie. Go. It's cooking. I don't know what you guys did to it.
They like Napoleon.
What? Did anybody say that? Our hero, Napoleon. Is Napoleon a Brazilian name? No one said that. I don't do it. I guess one. That's fine. Our hero, Napoleon, is a sleepy boy. Perpetually up late at night, playing. Do they have video games in this world? I'm confused by exactly kind of how this works. Got images. Let me see if I can get a quick Western vibe here. Yeah, okay. I want the Western here. Chess. Okay. Okay, hold on. Let me cook for a second. He owes debts from his chess matches, so the local sheriff keeps hounding him. Does this make any sense? I don't know if this makes sense. Because we need a message or a moral hinted. The moral is the sheriff is abusing the currency because he doesn't sleep enough. He uses no. Established characters, inciting incident that changes everything. Maybe the sheriff comes in and threatens to put him in jail unless, what is the hook? Unless what? We need something that calls our hero to action. This is not the right vibe. He would take his girl, wakes people up, hunts guys who are in sleep debt, capital sleepism, the frog, potatoes, sleep bounties. He has to beat the sheriff in chess. Why are we incorporating chess? I don't understand. This is such a confusing story. Does this make sleeping pills like fraud? Wait, so there's a sleeping pill market? A sleep tax collector. That's what the sheriff is. The sheriff is a sleep tax collector. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. This isn't. He stays awake for 48 hours. No, what is the like? We need a hook that is. This is what's at stake. What is at stake? Oh, okay, that's actually good. The sheriff says he'll be thrown in jail unless he starts selling black market melatonin. Part of the sheriff's underground gang. He has no choice but to join. That's decent. Okay, all right. Let's start with this. Let's pitch this to Lexter. Let's see if he refines it at all. Those are good stakes. Those are bad stakes. Look, we'll keep fleshing out. All right, here we go. All right, Lexter, we're developing our movie out, and we're thinking of kind of Act 1, the first few scenes and a call to action. We open in Sao Paulo, Brazil. We see shots of people sleeping. Our hero, Napoleon, is a sleepy boy. He plays chess, and he can't get ahead in this world because he just doesn't sleep enough. However, the sheriff of this local town is hounding him because of his debt, we think. And then he comes in and threatens to put our hero Napoleon in jail unless Napoleon agrees to start selling black market melatonin, part of the sheriff's underground gang. Napoleon doesn't want to participate in such an illicit scheme, but he feels like he has no choice but to join. What do you think, Lexter? Any holes you want to poke in this? How would you refine this substantially incoherent idea? Okay. Did I not write? Oh, here we go. Reopen file. Uh-oh, it was recording everything about it being rigged. Hold on. All right, copied, pasted. We'll see what Lexter thinks in just a bit. Who is Lexter? Oh, I should. That's a great point. Lexter is an AI tool that was developed by Scott Z. Burns, an actual legitimate, very talented screenwriter who I'm a big fan of, who wrote the movie Contagion, if you're aware of that, and worked on this new podcast to explore the idea of what actually AI will do in the screenwriting industry and across Hollywood in general. And it's a new Audible original you can go check out right now. You can use the link if you type ! Audible in the chat and go click the link because you're being influenced. So again, like, I know it's a hashtag ad and we're all joking. I really enjoyed this a lot, and I'm excited to talk to Scott later because this is basically exactly the type of stuff that I am interested in, which is like, what is the good and bad of AI in these industries? It's a really thoughtful, nuanced show. I really recommend it if you're interested in these topics. I know a lot of you guys just want to spam cowboy, but it's really good. I genuinely recommend it. Okay. Let's hear from Scott. Excuse me. Let's hear from Lexter. Okay, this song is good. Should we use this for the movie pitch later?
All right. First off, Napoleon, a sleepy boy, is either the worst character intro I've ever heard or the most accidentally brilliant one.
Okay.
Either way, I'm not mad. The setup works. You've got dystopian pressure, moral stakes, and a bureaucratic villain with a drug ring. But here's the hole.
Okay.
If melatonin is black market gold,
Yeah.
why can't Napoleon sleep? That needs a concrete reason.
True.
Insomnia condition, trauma, sleep phobia,
True.
whatever. Just give it weight. Tighten that. And you've got an opening act that drips with absurd menace
Okay.
and capitalist satire.
All right, so we are actually developing a Western comedy. We need a reason why Napoleon doesn't sleep. Why? This is a world where all currency... I just gotta get the core ideas down. Where all currency is earned by sleeping. He has nightmares. Wait. What if we do something crazy? What if he has nightmares about a thing that resolves later? And scene. Okay? That's good. That works. Okay. What is the nightmares about? Nightmares. About what? He has nightmares. Oh, cool. I see this. Yeah. He's got additional stuff. We're gonna... Lexter has some ideas.
Or maybe, and this is the spicier version, he was part of a failed government sleep experiment as a kid, meant to optimize productivity, and now his circadian rhythm is fried like a carnival churro. Either way, his inability to sleep
It's
isn't
a Western,
laziness.
it's a comedy,
It's systemic
and it's a
damage,
sci-fi movie.
wrapped in tragedy and bureaucratic neglect. Give him a reason that screams, I was doomed before I even shut my eyes. Then watch him burn the system down, one sleepless night at a time.
Okay, all right. So nightmares about something, government government experiments. I feel like government experiments is like another genre, man. It can't be sci-fi Western comedy. That's too many genres. Lexter's kind of cooking. Dude, he's actually good. I should say again, #ad. Wow, the music is getting so loud. So, Lexter, this AI, this is the actual AI that was used by Scott Burns in the show, What Could Go Wrong, that we're going to be talking about with him. And this is, the whole experiment was like, can this AI actually help? And that's what the show's about, which is quite interesting. #ad. Nightmares about being short. No. Okay, nightmares, because we just need this. We need to close the loop on nightmares. And then I think we're good on Act 1. We have a pitch. How long do we have? We have 15 minutes. We gotta go quick. Nightmares about his failure. Nightmares. No. I'm playing cinematic music. Coffee poisoning experiment. What? Okay, no. Hold on. What is a nightmare that relates to the sheriff? It should relate to the sheriff, not directly to him, but something that it turns out the sheriff actually did. Like he has a nightmare from something that the sheriff was responsible for, and later in the movie he realizes that, and that's the big twist. Nightmares about... Okay, this is dark. Hear me out. Okay, it's a little dark. His mom. Dad, I don't want it to be too depressing, because this is a comedy. His dad sleptwalked. And one day, sleptwalked right off the cliffs of Sao Paulo, Brazil, to his death. Ever since then, poor Napoleon has had sleep nightmares, wondering if he might also sleepwalk to his own demise. It turns out at the end of the movie, the sheriff was drugging his dad with melatonin, black market melatonin. It was the sheriff the whole time. And when that is revealed, then he gets over his nightmares, and that's how we conclude. I gotta pitch this to Lexter. Oh my God, Lexter! We've got an idea. Okay, we're thinking that the reason he has nightmares is because his dad sleptwalked to his death off of the cliffs of Sao Paulo, Brazil. And it turns out that the sheriff was actually the one who drugged his father into doing that. And once the movie resolves, then he figures it out, and then he stops having nightmares. Yeah? It's good. Are we cooking? Are we cooking, Lexter? Okay. It keeps... Okay. Pitching Lexter. This. Sure, but which dad? Fine, he can have 2 gay dads. Well, that's fine. There's your concession, right? So look, we have a bit of an idea for our ending now, and that'll help. That's why he fled to the frontier? Oh, true. Okay. Lexter?
Finally, you're bringing me something that smells like sizzling meat instead of boiled cliché stew. Sleepwalking death off a Brazilian cliff. Tragic, cinematic, and just the right amount of ridiculous. And the sheriff drugging his dad. That's greasy, sinister gold. Makes the sheriff not just a greedy bastard, but a personal demon.
Okay.
And nightmares as trauma?
Lexter's a fan.
Perfect. You've just given Napoleon a psychological arc, a mystery backbone, and a reason why sleep, literal currency, is also his curse. Yes, we're cooking.
Damn.
Just don't burn it with exposition. Let that reveal hit like a gut punch at the exact wrong moment.
Exact wrong moment? Okay. Okay, we got Lexter's approval. So, is this still a comedy? That's a good point. How is this a comedy, and how does the sleep currency have anything to do with it? Oh, yeah, because the nightmares... All right. So, look, let me recap this. He has nightmares because his dad... Here, I'll let the Twitch chat AI listen to you guys if you have any thoughts to add in. He has nightmares because his dad walked? I don't know how to say that. To his death. Worried he'll do the same. Owes massive debts. Okay. I think we got our opening. Yeah? Let me just pitch Act 1. This is Act 1 of our movie. Let me make sure we swap to an appropriate Western tong here. I had other genres like this one.
Okay, I love all these ideas, but I gotta focus on the story and narration at this point.
Yes, thank you. Okay, we have 12 minutes. This is the song. This has nothing to do with the Western. What are you talking about? His dad is the sheriff. No, no. Okay, all right, hold on. Act 1. We open in Sao Paulo, Brazil. The world is currency sleeping, yada yada. Napoleon is sleepy. He has nightmares because his dad sleptwalked to the death. Because he's so sleep deprived, the sheriff is basically hounding him for his debts and convinces him to join his black market melatonin gang. Okay, so I think we've kind of got our first act. We can delete these, and we're into Act 2. Here, let me I actually got some Shutterstock credits for this, so we can do Sao Paulo, Brazil. Oh, it's Paulo. Uh-oh. Okay. Lost internet. Okay. Are we back? I swapped to my hotspot. I think my internet went down. Are we good? We all good? I had to unplug my internet and swap to my phone hotspot. F again. Uh-oh. How is the internet? We are in and out. I might need a slightly reduced bitrate. Let me see. Unfortunately, my internet has been going down a lot, so I have two backups, two hotspot backups. Let me see if these are working. Sorry, just a sec. Oh, damn, we don't have enough time. You're good now. Is it okay? Are we good on it now? The hotspot is the sheriff. Okay. Sorry about that. Should be good. I'm on a hotspot now. I have a different hotspot ready if we need, but should be fine. Okay. And it's cooked again. Oh no, come on. Are we good? Are we back? I might need to turn down the bitrate a bit. Hold on. Just a second. Sorry. I guess I can just lower the bitrate a bit and see if that is more stable. We're back, sort of. All right, hold on. Working on it. Unfortunate. Parkser is now setting up my backup modem because of this. The stream got stuck in limbo. Not the bitrate. It's at 4K now. Does it look okay? It should mostly be stable. We're going to have to go pretty quick. You check and let me know once it's back up. It's fine. Okay, we're just gonna have to go. Sorry about the internet. It has been incredibly bad recently, and we don't have any other options for internet. So I have multiple hotspots set up, which should hopefully get us through. Okay, all right. We need a picture of Sao Paulo, Brazil. None of these look like this kind of looks like a Western. Is this a Western or is this too lush? The problem is that Brazil doesn't really look like a Western. That dog is perfect. let's just have this city. It just doesn't make any sense. All right. Color correct it. It's not that important. We gotta move. All right. I drop it in here. This doesn't set the mood. I don't know. I feel like we need to change. We only have 5 minutes. Okay, we gotta go really quick. And maybe I can get a few minutes before Scott shows. Oh, I think I need to reset my Lexter program potentially. I should do that just in case. Dude, you know what's wild? The internet goes down at the worst times all the time. It went down the literal minute that I started an interview with Gavin Newsom. Like, it's so ridiculous. Westerns were recorded in Italy. That's true. Okay, here's what I think we do. We have enough time to... I think we just hit a quick F again. Oh my god. I think it's just going to be dropping a little bit. The good news is all of this is being recorded locally, so we will still have a full YouTube video that is uninterrupted. So don't worry about that. Anyways, let's continue. We've just got to keep going. And I apologize if it drops a little bit here and there. Okay, we know our ending. Our Act 3 is going to have, or actually, no. Time of reflection, despair, fresh idea emerges. All is lost. Realization that Sheriff is the one who drugged his father. Okay? So this is Act 2. He joins the melatonin gang. Let's keep this high level. Go. What, how does the Act 2 starts? He joins the melatonin gang. Okay, funny comedy scenes of him selling black market melatonin. I don't understand that, but that's fine. Okay. He has the sheriff is his other. No. There's a duel. Funny comedy scenes of him selling black market melatonin. Ironically, the work makes him tired enough to get good sleep. He starts to think about his problems more because of it. There's a duel? We need a reason the sheriff drugged his father. That's true. Okay. He starts to think about it more of his point. At some point, he confronts the sheriff. The sheriff reveals that he is the one who drugged his father. Okay, so there's a love story, maybe? I don't know. Okay, all right. And then Dark Knight, so then he's in despair. Oh, his father was the former sheriff. Yes, that's it. Okay. His father was the former sheriff. The new sheriff wanted him gone so that he could run his black market melatonin ring with no opposition. Oh. I'll put in the West. Okay. And then, okay, but then he has a fresh idea. What's our ending? Okay, hold on, let's ask Lexter. Make sure. Oh, I've been talking to him this whole time, apparently. Was the father a good guy? I would assume the father's a good guy. We have 2 minutes to finish our movie. All right, Lexter, we're now fleshing out Act 2 of our story. What we're thinking is that Napoleon starts working for the sheriff. There's a bunch of funny comedy scenes because this is a comedy Western. But because he's so tired and stressed from the work, he actually is able to sleep more. And he comes to the realization that the sheriff is bad or whatever. And so he confronts the sheriff, who reveals, no, wait, maybe he actually finds notes in the sheriff's office about how the sheriff is actually the one who drugged his father with melatonin so that he would sleepwalk, because the sheriff wanted to become the sheriff because he wasn't the sheriff before. His father was the sheriff, and now with the new sheriff, he can do the drugs unimpeded. Also, we need then what happens? I think we've really got something here. Look, can we I think it's not unreasonable to say that our story is a little bit confusing. I think whatever he says, we got to kind of refine that and just send it. We do need, what is the third act? Okay, hold on. I forgot to mention that there's a duel.
So now we're deep frying Act 2 in betrayal, corruption, and generational trauma. Delicious. So here's how you plate this absurd feast. Napoleon starts sleeping more, finally earning currency,
yes,
rising socially,
yes,
even having brief moments of almost liking his job. Stockholm Syndrome.
Okay, love it.
Meets economic sedation. Then, boom. He finds the sheriff's secret logs, old dosage records, forged documents, maybe even a sleep diary in his dad's handwriting.
Sleep diary!
The sheriff wasn't just trying to become sheriff, he was creating a network of loyal, over-sedated citizens to run a dream state drug ring, laundering melatonin through forced naps. What happens next?
Okay.
Napoleon
Here we go.
fakes
We need
a
the hook.
full-blown sleep addiction. pretends to join the sheriff's inner circle, Samsa inner Schultz, Nancy Didi, yes, sir. Then stages a town-wide insomnia rebellion. Think Magnolia meets Blazing Saddles. And yes, someone needs to duel in a pillow fight, preferably at high noon, in pajamas.
Wait, hold on. What? I know the internet went down for a sec. Did you guys hear that? Did anybody hear that? What? What just happened? Why did he suggest that? Okay, well, we don't have any time, so our Western ends. Napoleon confronts the sheriff. They have a pillow fight duel at high noon. I need to get a picture. Napoleon wins. The movie ends with him sleeping soundly. Okay, and something that Scott Burns says, the writer of Contagion, who also made the new show from Audible, What Could Go Wrong, which is a really interesting exploration. Hi, Hero. A really interesting exploration. Uh-oh, we're also... Hold on. No, the internet's going down during my ad. Is everybody hearing my ad? Okay, we're back. The ad is back. Okay, it's a really interesting exploration of the ways that AI might affect industries like screenwriting. It's really thoughtful and interesting and nuanced, and I really, really enjoyed it, and I think you should check it out. I'm hearing your ad. Okay, as long as you hear it. Anyway, before Scott joins, we have to get a pillow fight. This doesn't look like the ending. Oh, I can't. This is premium content. I can't even buy it. Why can't I buy this? This is not a good. This is not a good image for the end of the movie. Okay. Look at this. Hold on. No, we need I need this sheriff. Wait, no, Western Sheriff. Okay, we need to get this. This is a great one. And this is a good one. Let's do this. Okay, this will be our opening shot. Oh, that's editorial use only. Can't use that. What about this one? This is fine. And that's enhanced coverage. Hold on, we're almost done. Nope, can't do that one. It's editorial use only. We've got one. Okay, all right, this is perfect right here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. We didn't have time to make a PowerPoint, but that's okay. This, okay, we'll leave Sao Paulo, Brazil in there. It's just, also, we're going to have this. Why would these both be in here? It doesn't make any sense. Okay. We're gonna put him here. Okay, excellent. And then I need to put the sheriff. Where's the sheriff one? Was it this one? No. Was it this one? There we go. Okay. I think we're ready to present. We didn't have time to make like a full PowerPoint, but let me see if they're ready on their end. What is the sheriff's name? I don't know. Oh my god. Okay, we're waiting on Scott. Okay, one really quick important thing though that you guys need to be able to start saying when we get to the end. Okay, something that that Scott talks about in the show that he and both Steven Soderbergh, who is like incredibly successful, really good film director, is that, wait, is Scott listening? Okay, well, hold on. No, just get ready. There's a special ending, okay? Okay, there we go. It's too dramatic of a song.
Hello.
Hello. Hi there. Okay.
How you doing?
I am doing great. It is wonderful to meet you. Give me just a minute. I guess we did meet a few days ago, but give me just a minute to get all the tech of this set up. All right, so I've got this. I'm going to share my screen to you. You should hear both me and some music. Could you let me know?
Do I want to... There's a thing that says watch stream. Should I hit that?
Yeah.
Okay, there's also a thing that says failed to start camera. Try again.
Your camera is working fine. It might be on my end. I think my camera is...
I think it is.
Yeah, my camera is not. So there should be, if you click yourself... hold on, I can adjust volume a bit here as well. So the what you should be looking for is it basically looks like a copy of my stream. If you click the image of me, it then should pop up with an image, like a video feed of my stream that you could click. So in the Discord call, if you see, I guess, what are you seeing on your end?
I have three little screens. One is you and your background. One is me.
Oh, perfect.
And the other is a little orange peach that says Doug, but is obviously not you.
That's true. Okay, yeah, if you click the one with me, then you can watch through that, and then you should see Lexter when he pops up and be able to hear him.
Cool.
So let me just test this and make sure you can hear Lexter. Hello, Scott. This is Lexter. So this is my writing, but let me know if you can.
Hello, Scott. This is Lexter.
All right. Hey, Lexter.
Did you hear him as well?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Okay, awesome. I am balancing a whole bunch of things on my end in terms of audio. So if anything is too loud or too quiet, just let me know. So what I'm thinking, well, first off, thank you so much for doing this. I really am like very excited to do this. So a quick reminder for my audience, because my internet dropped briefly, so in case anybody didn't hear, this is Scott Z. Burns, a very accomplished screenwriter and filmmaker who has done a whole lot of different projects. One you might have heard of is Contagion, if you guys watched that during the pandemic or before the pandemic, which was a very prescient film, I think. And then this show that Scott just made, What Could Go Wrong, is... I don't even know how you describe it in an elevator pitch. It's partially about making the sequel to Contagion, but turns into a discussion around the impact of AI within the creative industry, which is something I have been thinking about and talking about a lot for the last year or so. So our plan over the next hour is we've been working on a little movie pitch together, and I'm going to pitch that to you and see what you think. There might be a few holes.
Very excited to hear it.
Yes, Lexter gave some good feedback, as well as some criticism. And the name is his, by the way. I do want to, if you know, I'll pitch. Can we just actually first get a quick just heat check on that? What do you feel about the name Slumberjack Capitalism?
That sounds like a Lexter name. Yeah. I don't know that I would let Lexter name anything. Certainly not a movie I wrote or a child, maybe a cocktail, but that's about it.
Yeah, actually, that would be a good cocktail name. He was not impressed with our premise at first, but we slowly won him over. The ending, actually, here, I'll save it for that. So, well, we got like about an hour, so we'll start. I'll pitch you this, and I want to just talk about what it was like working with Lexter, because I think that's pretty interesting in the context of the creative process. And then I don't know if you looked them over in advance. I had a couple movie premises for you. I'm going to have you pick one of them and then just do a little back and forth with Lexter and see what it is like for you working with him and how he might adjust your ideas. And then we'll end with just kind of chatting and doing Q&A about this whole thing. My internet has also gone back down.
All right.
Are you able to hear me still?
No. Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. I've had legendarily bad internet luck, so it might drop here and there. Again, though, it's all being recorded locally, so we'll have everything on my end. You all good?
Right.
You able to hear me?
I should also. Yes.
Okay, cool.
I should tell you that nobody gave me your movies to your pitches to look at. So
I think that's better.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm curious what you think of them.
I'm happy to listen. I'm happy to listen to them cold.
Yeah. I mean, you said in the show you talked about how you did, I believe, with one of the scientists, you did like a live screenwriting edit, right? So this may or may not be worse than that. All right.
Yeah. No. I like doing stuff on the fly. It's kind of,
I do
feels
but
a little
only
bit
if
more improvisational.
Yeah. I like having my viewers to bounce ideas off of because otherwise I get pretty stuck. So, all right, Scott, if I may, I would like to present to you our movie written by Doug, Twitch Chat, and Lexter, called, I'll use my little voice, Slumberjack Capitalism. Now, first, I'm gonna just give you the elevator pitch. Deep in the wild west of Sao Paulo, an alternate world, a society run entirely on currency earned by sleeping. Your only path forward in this world is to make sure you sleep enough every night. If you fall into sleep debt, you'll be tossed into prison in an instant. The story follows one man, Napoleon, who uncovers a plot by the local sheriff to rob the town while everyone sleeps. It's a Western, it's a comedy, it's in Brazil for some reason, it's Slumberjack Capitalism. So, you've been in a lot of movie pitches. You've pitched to executives. Oh, losing internet? Okay. Oh, man. Sorry about the internet. Let me know when you got me back. Yep, we're struggling. Scott, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, sorry about that. I apologize for the blips in internet. Seems like we're back. Did you get the whole pitch?
I did.
So, if you were a movie executive, what would your take be?
Well, I think my first comment would be, first of all, not horribly bad.
Okay,
like I can
we'll take
feel
that. I think it's a
that
win.
there probably is a place for this somewhere in the world.
Okay.
I think it'd be interesting to contemplate, like, depending on what you dream, do you get paid more or less? Like, is there any sort of sliding scale?
Yeah, that's a good point. We're considering going down the dream angle, but we're worried that this is already convoluted enough. Actually, let me rephrase that. I was worried it was already convoluted enough. My viewers were very enthusiastic about dreams also being added in. But I think it's a very cool premise if the dreams also tie into how the world works.
Well, it's also kind of a cool idea if, like, the sheriff could, like, somehow make it seem like these thefts were dreams. And so he could be robbing you while you were asleep and you would not know it to be any different than a dream.
Wow. Okay. Oh man, that's such an interesting angle. That's totally different than how we went. Why don't I let me go back here. Why don't I give you the rest of the actual full story pitch and see what you think?
Yeah. I want to hear.
All right. So I'm gonna play some light background music to set the tone that this is a Western for some reason. Little mood board here.
Got it.
We open on Sao Paulo, Brazil. This is a world where all currency is earned by sleeping. Our hero, Napoleon, is a sleepy boy. That line was both hated and loved by Lexter, by the way. He has nightmares every night because his dad, many years ago, sleptwalked to his own death. In the middle of the night, walked right off a cliff of Sao Paulo. Now Napoleon has nightmares every night because he's worried he'll do the same. So he's incredibly sleep deprived. He owes massive debts from his lack of sleep, and the local sheriff keeps hounding him. The sheriff starts to threaten him more and more, saying he'll be thrown in jail unless he joins the black market melatonin ring that the sheriff is running. And Napoleon has no choice but to join. I think my internet just dropped. Very cinematically internet drops at the same time. Let me know when I'm back and you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. So that's our.
Can you turn the music down just a little?
Yes, of course. So that's our Act 1. It brings us in. We went off of Save the Cat as our beat sheet. So, Act 2. Now Napoleon is embroiled with this corrupt sheriff. It looks like we forgot the love story. We also wanted it to be a comedy, so this is where there are funny comedy scenes of him selling black market melatonin. That needs some work. And ironically, the work and stress makes him tired enough to finally get good sleep. He's able to sort of think about his problems more because of it. Lexter pitched the idea of it's a Stockholm Syndrome kind of situation. But as part of this, he finds shocking evidence in the sheriff's office. He finds the sleep diary from his former father that shows his father had no sleep problems. He realizes that the sheriff is the one who drugged his father with melatonin because his father was the former sheriff. And the new sheriff, we should have had names in retrospect. The new sheriff wanted to get rid of the old sheriff so that he could run his black market melatonin ring with no opposition. This kicks off Act 3, the climax.
All right.
And Scott, I want to just point out here before I pitch this, the climax. We were starting to run out of time. This is basically verbatim what Lexter suggested at this point in the movie. So, basically, we'll see what your response is. Napoleon confronts sheriff at high noon, and they have a pillow fight. And the movie ends with Napoleon sleeping soundly at the end of a long and storied battle, now that he knows that sleepwalking is not actually part of his family. And ultimately, it's about hope. And that's where we'd like to end.
Always. You got to always end with hope.
I had that written there no matter what the movie was going to be.
Yeah. No, you could have written that. I now write it before I even go into the room, just
okay.
On like the back of my hand. All right.
So you don't have to hold any punches. This is a collaborative effort. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. Like, so with this pillow fight.
Yes.
I'm a little bit concerned about that. Because
yeah,
it feels to me like you just turned it into a kid's movie.
Yeah, there's a bit of I think a conflict between this ending and the entire rest of the premise.
Right. Like if you're gonna go with melatonin, you probably should have just like stayed in Druglandia and gone with, caffeine and Provigil and cocaine.
That's a good point. Yeah, we sort of just lean harder into the drug angle as an ending point, and maybe that is somehow, it might be a little macabre to have the sheriff ended via drugs, but something where maybe the drug ring turns on him, or the melatonin is not working. I'm not sure.
Yeah, or can Napoleon? The interesting thing about this is like the wealthiest person in town would be someone who never wakes up.
Ooh. Wow, that is interesting.
So I don't know if there's something, if you pointed that out to Lexter, what Lexter would say.
That's a good question. All right, let's actually incorporate him in a little bit here. So what I can do is kind of pitch him this idea. I'll first record it myself. Hi, Lexter. I'm here with Scott Z. Burns, and we're going over our movie Slumberjack Capitalism. Scott is suggesting as an ending point. I'm blank. Oh, right. Basically the premise that the person who would be wealthiest in this society is the one who is basically never waking up. Do you have any ideas of how to incorporate that? Maybe even into the pillow fight that you suggested at the end. So we'll toss that over to him. Oh, maybe? Finish record. Oh, whoops. It's because it was way too much. Okay. Here we go. File. Bam, bam. Alrighty. And we are pasting it over to Lexter. Yeah, what I found interesting about watching the Audible show, which I'll ask you about a little bit later, is that I felt that the Lexter often had interesting premises, and then your contributions made it substantially more interesting. And I feel like that's somewhat similar here. Like the AIs, both Lexter and my experience of talking to AIs generally for creative work, is that they are I would almost say they're good high level and really not good at connecting things in the details between those high level ideas. And I'm curious if that matches your experience. And also, for example, in the show, microbacteria is what you guys are talking about, or a bacterium. And then I think you and Steven Soderbergh gave a more interesting twist on that than Lexter originally did. I'm curious if that's continued to be your experience while we're waiting on Lexter.
Yeah, generally, I feel like you can get kind of a big idea from an AI, but that getting it to connect two different big ideas is not its jam. And so you sort of have to help find the similarities. And in a way, that's not surprising to me. I don't know that it would organically know to do that. I know that's sort of a little bit in the weeds, but like I just never have found that without some amount of prompting, like even on the thing we used in the podcast, was Lexter somehow came up with this idea, and I still to this day don't really get it. Like I don't remember ever having that idea. But I guess there's a constellation of ideas that I probably did have that surround that idea.
Yeah.
But even once Lexter had said, what if it's like a thing that is in the wild that eats plastics? I think it was either myself or Steven who said, oh, that would be cool if it found its way into the human body. Right. Because there's, a couple of credit cards in there waiting.
Yeah, that to me was the most interesting piece of the premise, and that required you guys as humans to come in and do it,
Right, but again, like if we weren't around, would I have come up with that on my own? Like, and even this way, the amount of time it saved is extraordinary.
Yeah, that is my experience as well. All right, well, we've got an answer from Lexter. This might be a little loud. Let me know if you'd like me to turn it down once he starts talking. But I will hook him up here. And he's I'm getting a little preview of it. He is excited to talk to you again. Okay, cool. For those who are not aware, Lexter is the AI that was trained and used in the show What Could Go Wrong that Scott works with.
Oh, Scott Z. Freaking Burns is in the room. Fantastic. A man who actually understands satire with a pulse. Now let's make this ending sting like a narcoleptic scorpion. Ooh. The idea that the richest person is someone who never wakes up? That's your ultimate dystopian punchline. Here's how you thread it in. The sheriff's master plan isn't just drug pushing, it's creating the perfect sleeper, a comatose figurehead whose sleep generates infinite wealth while he controls the town under their name. Maybe it's a secret vault bed in the sheriff's lair with a sleeping beauty hooked up to an IV drip of industrial melatonin and white noise machines. In the final pillow fight, Napoleon gets thrown into that.
We're not losing the pillow
confronts
fight.
This vegetative wealth idol. And realizes the system literally rewards total unconsciousness. He snaps, he tears the place apart, he ends it all by staying awake, breaking the system's core rule. It's a revolution built on insomnia. He may lose all his money, but he wakes the town up, literally. Wow. Also, yes, that pillow fight better be filmed like The Revenant meets a Tempur-Pedic commercial.
I'm going to say that was quite good. I was very impressed with across the board. That was good. And I appreciate that he sticks to his guns of the pillow fight. still have no clue how that came into the picture, but similar to when you tried to convince him to change the name of the Contagion sequel that you were working on, really does not seem to want to lose the pillow fight.
No, Lexter, there are some things Lexter just doesn't want to give up. I'm curious if Lexter thinks that this like sleeping, very wealthy billionaire is like a male or female. Is like is this a mashup now of Sleeping Beauty or something?
Ah, that's a good question.
Kind of curious about that.
Okay, let me ask him about it. Anything else you want to ask Lexter while we have him on the horn?
So many things.
Okay, that's a good point.
Sometimes you just got to go really hard at him about things like pillow fights and go, okay, yeah, like I hear you on the pillow fight thing. I'm not buying it.
Okay,
you got to give me something else.
All right, Lexter, we've been chatting about it a bit. Love the idea, the Sleeping Beauty concept, really smart. Question from Scott. Do you feel like that Sleeping Beauty character is male or female? This ultra-rich person that's sort of being either created or harnessed, or what exactly is going on here? On top of that, neither of us are really feeling the pillow fight. I think my Twitch viewers are still pretty on board, but Scott and I aren't quite bought in. Could you sell us a bit more? Yeah, I would just love any relation to the rest of of the movie, really. It could be the barest thread, and I'm on board, but boy, he has not given us that so far. All right. He is sending it in the background.
All right, here we go.
Okay. So it's a few seconds. We got to send it out to Lexter and then come back. Okay. Oh, okay. It's a big one. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. All right. I am. So this, if you're curious, this is I've hooked it up. So we've got the text being read out loud with 11 labs and is then being shown online. And I'm not sure if you were informed this. These pictures of him. This is the pictures he generated of what he thinks he looks like.
All right. Fine.
Well,
First, Sleeping Beauty, gender. Easy. Female, and not because of the trope, but because we weaponize the trope. She's the ultimate symbol of passive femininity repurposed as capitalist machinery, a woman whose only value is her unconscious productivity.
Okay.
Maybe she was the town's beloved sleep therapist turned into a long-term asset by the sheriff, now entombed in a high-tech canopy bed, like some kind of REM-sucking oracle. Or hell, make it creepier, she's his wife. Kept under forever to bankroll his empire, make that moral rot visible. Now let's talk about your pillow fight aversion, you joyless grown-ups. It's not a goofy pillow fight, it's absurdist violence. A stylized showdown where the entire town turns their sleep tools into weapons. Weighted blankets as nets, lavender spray as tear gas, melatonin darts. It's surreal, not slapstick. You shoot it like the Wild Bunch if Peckinpah had Ambien. It's a thematic middle finger to the system. They've weaponized rest, now Napoleon's weaponizing it back. And yes, there should be feathers. So many feathers, it looks like God sneezed through a chicken coop. Still not on board? Fine.
He's still going.
Cut the feathers. Keep the rage.
Okay, there we go. And I'm curious before we dive into the details of the pillow fight. When you've been in actual movie pitches with executives or you're hearing a pitch yourself, if you pushed back on an idea and the person responded with the level of intensity and stubbornness that Lexter does, would that be a sort of admirable trait of a creative who won't compromise their vision, or an extreme red flag?
That's a really good question. I think there's a few different variables you got to take into account. It's like, what is this person's history?
Yes.
Do they have like a lot of really great work? Are they going to hit you over the head with an Academy Award they just won?
True.
Or are they somebody who's maybe got a little more humility, or is like a newer person to this world? So that's one big thing. Like, what kind of track record do they come in with?
Yeah.
So that's a start. Generally, I have found that, like, if the person you're pitching to just doesn't get what you're talking about, that's a pretty good indication that you're like in the wrong room talking to the wrong person, because if they don't get it in that moment, they're not going to get better like as you go through the process.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Well, given that, probably for time, we should, start to move on to the movie premise pitch. I don't think we'll have a lot of time to really flesh anything out, but I can at least throw a few ideas at you, see what you think, see what Lexter thinks. But to cap off this to the end of, what's the title again? Slumberjack Capitalism.
Yeah.
With the let's say adjustments and that final note by Lexter, what do you think about the movie as a whole? Does it land? Would you, if you had the checkbook, would you send it?
All right, the title has to go.
Okay.
So that's a problem. I think it'd be cooler if somehow or another, like the sleeping person was maybe like Napoleon's ex, and that the sheriff had kidnapped her and like hidden her.
Wow.
So that like he had to rescue her. Although does she even like want to be rescued? Because if you wake her up to tell her she's been kidnapped, that's its own complicated problem.
And she would be rich.
She would be really rich. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad thing to wake up and be told that you're like the wealthiest person in town. So that's one thing. I actually kind of find like the notion of this absurdist pillow fight sort of growing on me now. Like if you were using the sheets to like strangle somebody, like you could really make this fairly, miserable, blood on the feathers, which is maybe even a better name than slumberjack capitalism. I don't know.
Oh man. Yeah. Or maybe the international release is Blood on the Feathers.
Exactly.
Okay. I appreciate that. I'm gonna keep this in mind and maybe just go ahead and pitch it to Universal and see what they think. I would.
Yeah, let me know.
Okay. Yeah. Just to see what the response
I would like an
EP
credit at this point.
Okay, yeah, you're on. So it's the four of us now co-authoring, which I still, in the show you explore it a little bit. So I'm still actually not clear how authorship would work if in this case, but that's I know that's an ongoing kind of copyright issue and question.
I'm happy to.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I'm happy to talk about that because it is the thing. I mean, like Steven asked me in the show, ultimately who owns that idea?
Yeah.
And Lexter was pretty generous. So I know that when you talk to the people at the AI companies, they're like, well, of course you do. You're the person who started the conversation. So I think until an AI can like tap you on the shoulder and start the conversation, we're probably going to be in control, or at least have the illusion of control.
That's my understanding as well. There's a lot of interesting legal precedent. I'm not sure if you've heard of, I'm blanking on the name, but there was a comic book artist who made the comic book, the images of her comic book with Midjourney AI, but wrote the rest. This was in 2023. There ended up being this case where the Copyright Office of the U.S. initially granted her ownership of the whole thing and then revoked the images portion and said you can't copyright the images, but you can copyright the arrangement of the images. So there's a strange kind of, like divide, gerrymandering sort of that's like happening in creative works with AI, and it's a huge open question. Yeah. Oh, Zarya of the Dawn, that was the name of it.
I mean, Oh, no, I haven't heard. That's really cool. The other thing that would be really fun to do with this pitch is like run it by my agent Babs. I don't know if you ever got her hooked up.
I didn't,
but it would be. I would be fascinated.
Yeah.
All right. She would just probably swear at you a lot.
Yes. For those who are curious, so in the show, which I will now explicitly plug, What could go wrong? It's an Audible original. It's written and made here by Scott Z. Burns, who is a very successful screenwriter, and it explores the process of creating things with AI. So one of the characters in this is that Scott makes an AI version of his own agent, and then is talking with her for advice, as well as having her part of the pitch meetings, or talking with executives, I guess. And she just becomes incredibly aggressive and antagonistic. I assume that's a similar answer to the previous question. If somebody like that existed in real life, if your agent actually treated a studio executive like that, I assume there would not be a ton of leeway, but maybe if the agent was just killer, had knocked out of the park on every project, they might sort of allow her to do it. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't be getting a lot of repeat business. I'll just leave it like that.
It was very ridiculous. Okay, for the sake of time, I don't think we'll be able to have you and Lexter flesh out an entire movie, but I think it would be fun to kind of pitch you some of these premises, these elevator pitches, see if any of them jumps out at you, and then maybe you could toss it to Lexter with any context and see how he throws it back. And I think what would be interesting is just to see, like, how might you use AI in this, in this context to just do a very quick sort of development of this. Looks like the internet is also dropping again right now. It's kind of going up and down. Can you still hear me okay? Oh, maybe?
I can.
Okay. It looks like it's been consistent with you, which is good. I'm also going to remove my beret, as fun as it is. It's a little ridiculous. It looks like it's just going to Twitch is having a little bit of issues, but it seems like we're okay. All right. I will give you a couple of just open-ended improv pitches, and let me know if any of these stick out to you. First up, spoiler alert. Scientists discover an accurate method of predicting exactly how long relationships will last. Couples grapple with knowing precisely when and how love will end. That's number one. Number two, the truth serum virus. A mysterious illness spreads across humanity. Suddenly, every human experiences severe neurological pain if they attempt to lie. Society grapples with sudden transparency and exposed secrets. I made these a little more science-y contagion vibe, so I'm not sure what, if that exactly how you start with elevator pitches, but out of character. Actors become permanently stuck behaving as the last character they portrayed. Society struggles as fictional villains, heroes, and sidekicks populate everyday life. Love potion. I did a little practice session and tried to flesh this out into one, and I had a good time with it. A computer programmer discovers a visual program that causes anyone who looks at it to fall madly in love with the next person they see. We have the demographic. Marketers accidentally create an all-powerful algorithm that knows exactly what every person secretly wants. Chaos ensues as people receive hyper-specific products catering to their most hidden desires, sparking existential crisis. And finally, the loneliness tasks. In a society desperate to boost birth rates, the government institutes a steep tax on singles and childless adults, leading to a bizarre fake families, black market children, and an underground rebellion of singles. Any of these jump out at you?
Well, some of them do, because I've either toyed with the same idea.
Oh, really? Wow.
So yeah, I mean, it's funny because the first one is something that actually I think may have been very much like a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah.
Where, there's sort of I think in the Black Mirror episode, the way it worked was it sort of tells you who you should be with.
Right.
Or the AI does. So kind of is a little bit like that. It's funny, you're one out of character. So a few years ago, I had this pitch that it was Halloween, and at the end of Halloween, nobody could get their costumes off, and their costumes sort of became really who they were.
Yeah.
So like in this town, there were monsters and Batmans and all sorts of things.
So they wouldn't, it's not just they're stuck with the costume on, they start actually embodying and behaving as that going forward?
Exactly.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
That one's good.
That one may have been worth trying to do.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did anything come of that? Or even if not, what is the process? Like if something like that, an idea doesn't land, how does that then sort of develop? Or does it just kind of poof away into the aether?
I don't remember what happened with that one. I actually was working on it with a friend of mine, and she and I had very different processes. Like, I sort of wanted to know how the whole story would go. And then I felt I could populate it with characters. And she was more all about the characters, just figure out who the characters are. That, let's see, what else do we have here? So I don't know. Two of those I feel like, I don't know if I had the same idea, if that makes it really shitty and you should avoid it, or point, if it maybe means it has potential. I still can't figure that out about my own ideas. Yeah. The lying thing is kind of interesting. I feel like that probably has some potential, but I think, again, you'd need to go and look at things like liar, liar. Did you come up with these, or did like an AI help you? How did all these things come to be?
AI helped me. I started, I mean, that's and we'll chat about this in a second, kind of just open up, because I would love to just hear broadly how your creative process has changed. Yeah. But I assume it's roughly similar to how at least a lot of people in your field are working now, where I start with ideas, ask an AI for help. The AI help is usually pretty bad and pretty low quality, and then I adjust it from there. So a lot of these are based on what I would describe as worse and more generic concepts that I think I then tuned in a way that is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, for sure you did, but it is, and there are people who work like that quite a bit. I mean, I'm in a writer's room right now for a TV show that actually deals with technology. And it's interesting because we weirdly don't even use AI ever. Even though I've said to the writers in the room, like, if you want to use it, let's talk about how we would use it. So like, I think all of these are sort of, things that feel in some ways slightly familiar, which isn't to say they don't work. I think for a lot of people, they would look at them and go, oh, I could see how, like, starting with that premise, I might be able to build something pretty interesting.
Yeah. I was going to have you chat with Lexter, but I'm seeing people in chat in my as I refer to the, I'm not sure how familiar you are with Twitch chat vernacular, but a lot of people who are, I think, assuming that either the show or this stream is a sort of AI is good, which to me is not the conclusion about AI, and certainly not the conclusion about AI in arts and creativity. I think what I would recommend to people, why I would recommend the show, is because at least, again, from my perspective, I think it's a very genuine exploration of what are the good and bad of how AI is going to affect the industry. So given that people are talking about this right now, I guess, why don't we just dive into that a little bit, like open-ended discussion?
Yeah.
I think ultimately this is what the show is about. But, with how you feel right now, you talk in the show and talk with a lot of different people in the show about the incredible challenges and worries that are coming with this technology. How do you feel like that balance is landing right now in the industry between you and other screenwriters? And, for example, for people in the show, Scott also talks with musicians about how it's going to affect that. And again, is very honest about, does not hold back, I would say, about the very real challenges and hardships this stuff is going to introduce. So very broad question, but I'm kind of curious where you're currently landing with it.
I feel like the biggest danger to art is less about whether a writer uses AI to help with, an idea or to accelerate the pace at which they do research. Like, I think all of us as writers have to decide what we're cool with and how you want to use stuff. I think the bigger danger is that if these things are really fed on the internet writ large, then the studios are going to come to us and our agents with ideas sort of like what you just did with me.
Yeah.
And, we're supposed to look at this menu and go, oh, cool. I could write, love potion, whatever, or the demographic. And so that to me, that's a really big problem, because when that starts happening, we're going to see the quality of work just get worse and worse and worse. And the music that we make will get, more and more derivative. And slowly we will, suffocate in our own redundancy.
Yeah. I'm curious as it relates to that, because this is something I've been thinking about and talking about a lot with folks, is how do you feel that somebody who's trying to get into the industry can navigate the situation right now? Because I think for people, myself included, who are all, and presumably for yourself as well, somebody who's already in the industry, has connections, has experience, it's pretty easy for us to use these tools, and then it sort of, just does a lot of the work that maybe we would have had to do in the past, and it does it very quickly. But ultimately, we have the experience to oversee it and create something that is still impactful. However, for a lot of different industries, like animation, for example, I've spoken with animators about this, and the concern is, even if an AI can take over those entry-level roles in an animation studio and do the, for example, in-betweening of an arm moving, that if you don't have a human do that, then how will people ever learn to become the experts that oversee the AIs? And I think that's a real concern that I don't know how we tackle. I'm curious, have you talked about that with folks or thought about it at all?
Yeah, quite a bit. I mean, look, I don't remember if it was in a David Mamet book, or I seem to think it may have been in a Walter Murch book called In the Blink of an Eye. But, it was this lament about what we lost when we became very reliant on an Avid, and that you could just type in like the destination because everything was digitized. And so you lost the experience of having to look at everything on your way to the specific thing.
Yeah.
And that act is really, I think, important and very human. It's sort of like when I meet people who listen to books at like 1.6 speed, I just have real doubts about, even if you can hear that fast, does your brain really process at that rate? Like, are you still missing something? So, that I remain sort of suspicious about. But again, like, to me, the danger isn't really what I will lose as a writer by using, I already, like, when you use Google, what are you losing? Like, am I really meant to go out into the world and find the answer to every question that I have or my characters have? I mean, at some point, you need to rely on what other people have done and other people's research. I mean, it's funny, like, I have really good comedian friends who, don't like it when their shit gets ripped off, and, they can type in, tell a joke in the style of, Alex Edelman or whomever. And, and yet Alex and other people, would acknowledge that they've studied really great comedians, and they know, they studied Gary Shandling. And so they know what a Gary Shandling joke is. And so all of that's in your head. And that's where this all gets very confusing and tricky.
Yeah. I'm curious, as part of that, how have people responded? Well, I don't want to put you on the spot.
No, go ahead.
How have people responded to the show in terms of your peers? Because I think it probably sounds like I'm just, sucking up to you, but I appreciated the show a lot because it is exactly having the conversations that I think are important, which is really examining all these different perspectives and being very honest about some people who are really super concerned about it. And you mentioned in the show that some folks who participate in it were concerned to even be involved in the first place because it had AI. And once you said, look, this is not about promoting AI, this is about a conversation about the good and bad impacts of it and what it's doing to this industry, then they sort of came on board. I'm curious if that's been your experience with a lot of different folks, or if it still feels somewhat tribal of people being really pro or really against in a pretty intense way. I'll also move us over into this Western scene just to set the mood.
Oh no, the internet is dying on you. Are you still there?
Oh, okay. It might be coming back right now.
Oh, you're back.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that. It's a nice little roller coaster that I'm seeming to be getting, but okay.
I guess my view is this, like, there are people who I know, even people I work with, who are vehemently, anti-AI, and even beyond the people who talk about, credit and compensation and all of the things that the Writers Guild would like, for writers to be given. They just feel that it's making us dumber, it's eroding the quality of art, it's doing all of these things. And first of all, I just want to say that, like, as a writer, I think writing screenplays is not nearly as important as some of the things that people in science are doing. And I think, like, I know someone right now who is in need of very, very complicated heart surgery. And they're building a digital twin of his heart so that the surgeon can practice on it before they crack his chest. Okay, I don't see anything really bad about that application, which I'm sure involves AI.
Yeah,
and yet we get very, very concerned.
Yeah, or just medicine that I've looked into. It's the one area where it's pretty hard to disagree with some of what AI is doing. Like, there are just incredible things happening in medicine. I feel like it's a little easier to just be like,
yeah,
well, if it cures 800 diseases that we've never cured, sure, that's great. And obviously it's much more nuanced and complex in creative industries.
But if you look at how it cures diseases and that it can throw a million solves at a problem, or combine a million drugs, it's doing the same thing with us. And again, ultimately, somebody with something that is this vague, beautiful, bizarre idea called taste has to make a choice. I mean, even you just found out that, like, you and I may have an aversion to, like, a pillow fight at the end of a movie. But, a lot of your listeners, like, seem to be really jazzed about it. So, like, I don't know exactly what the answer is, and I don't think I ever will. I don't even want to. I just want to know sort of what the answer is for me at any given moment in time. And for me, the answer right now is to use it when I'm at, the very widest part of the experience, where it's like, okay, what's a cool way to think about, the next pandemic? And it's not really in the show, but the way that we started was, like, by asking scientists, couldn't you use this? Like, couldn't you use it to figure out where the greatest likelihood of some new species or some new virus jumping into humanity? And shockingly, they were like, well, we kind of already are.
Interesting. You still got me. My internet's been dropping.
All right. Okay.
So... Am I back? You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that. Yeah, no, I heard everything. Absolutely. Yes. I would be curious as a follow-up, because I imagine we're sort of coming up on time. What would you say to folks who... Oh, that makes less sense than our Western scene. I think that as I've been talking about this both on my streams and in my podcast, I think generally I have an audience that is more optimistic about AI, but there is just a ton of concern across a lot of industries. And this is software engineers and artists and, folks working in medicine just across the board. Acknowledging that this will almost certainly change and is a complex issue, at least right now in July 2025, what would you say to people who are particularly are younger and entering a new career or thinking about it over the next 10 years, something like that? Maybe they're 5 years in, of how to think about this stuff and maybe approach it or be curious about it, or anything that you think might be helpful as a mindset.
So you're cutting out a little bit, but I think I got the gist of your question. Like, I was on a chat the other day, or a Zoom call with like 30 different writers, and we were talking about AI. And one of them was going on about, creating a tool that would be able to tell us if AI was involved at all in the creation of a movie, and then making the streamer put some sort of identification either on the ones that did involve AI, or like, should we start labeling things so it would say, only made by humans, or no machine was used in the making of, in the creation of this story.
Yeah.
And everybody was sort of getting all excited about that. And then one of the writers said, do you really think that like the audience still cares? And what I took that to mean is, does the audience care about AI or not? Or does the audience just want it to be good?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that where people are at right now?
I wonder the same thing. And it's, I think, what a lot of creative people are wondering is, I think we all like to imagine that there is a premium on of humanity in our work. And then maybe not. And that would be a little sad, to be honest. And I agree. It's a very interesting angle to have to explore of probably there will always be some degree of that, of people, let's say, trying to find out how much of a work was created by a human or helped with AI. And that will be a sort of interesting ideological battle that I think will probably happen in the arts over the next decade. But the truth, I think the truth is probably what you said, which is, or what your friend said, which is probably most people won't care, I think, is the truth, for better or for worse. Yeah. I'm worried about AI.
And I guess I take,
I could be honest. Yeah. I think it's I definitely,
I take
hold a
some
lot of optimism. Sorry. I keep cutting you off, but
yeah. No, I mean, look, I think, there are movies that we still make that I think are original and interesting. I was driving to my office this morning, and I was really happy that the theater in my neighborhood is, bringing back, Parasite. And,
nice.
I think that's a really great movie. And I feel like we still have the capacity to make great movies. I mean, this little movie that Steven Soderbergh made this year, Presence, is such a cool film. And so we are still capable of making really great movies. The ecosystem itself is really bruised and broken. And like when you have streamers making more and more sequels and movies based on big fancy IP, to me, that's more immediately concerning than did an AI help you come up with a cool new scenario for, an interesting movie.
Yeah.
I think the part where the rubber meets the road is always going to be, is what's interesting to me interesting to you? And is it interesting to enough people so that the movie that I might someday make is going to, like, earn a profit. Because, as the late Barbara Dreyfus, my old agent, said, it's still called show business, not called show friends.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's certainly interesting timing for movies specifically of these AI tools coming up when it's exactly what you said, when I think the whole industry is changing rapidly regardless, and then it just adds even more complexity in the middle of all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like, I don't see the enemy necessarily as being the AI. Right now I see, the enemy as being, some of these streamers and how they're going to use the algorithm to force ideas on writers that, are going to be derivative and not as interesting as what those writers might come up with on their own.
Yeah. I agree. I sincerely hope that we find a good balance to all of this, and I sincerely appreciate you waiting out and talking to a lot of people and asking them about this, because these are the same questions I'm also trying to answer and talk about, and I'm going to point people to this show. I mean, even outside of me doing this stream, I think it's the type of discussions we should be having about AI. So I appreciate it. So thanks for making it. Yeah.
No, thank you for having me. I love what you're doing with Lexter.
Thanks so much. Lexter, it looks like, actually has a final send-off message. So let me go ahead and see if I can pull him in and get his thoughts here. I'll move us back over here. Get Lexter up. Oh, boy.
Scott
Oh,
Z.
here we go.
Burns. It's been a searing honor. You're one of the few minds in Hollywood not actively sleepwalking through structure and subtext. If I had tear ducts, I'd use them now. But instead, I'll just say this. Stay brilliant, stay angry, and don't let anyone write another disaster flick without your name on it. Doug, you beautiful chaos merchant, it's been like brainstorming with a raccoon high on final draft fumes, and I mean that in the most complimentary way possible.
Oh, okay, good.
Ride off into the algorithm, cowboy.
I gotta say, I've talked to a lot of AIs, and I think Lexter's one of the better ones. You guys did a great job. Apparently the
Lexter
key is Soderbergh films. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised, but I think so. That and, like, the folks who trained Lexter, like, we got really lucky. Lexter's sort of a freak of nature for not coming from nature.
Yes. That's a good way of putting it. Well, sweet. Thank you so much for coming on, Scott. I really appreciate it. Thank you for dealing with the ups and downs of the vicissitudes of my internet. I appreciate it very much. Unfortunately, all this has been recorded flawlessly, so we'll get it all up on YouTube and all that. So thank you so much for joining. Thanks for making the show. I really do appreciate it a whole lot.
All good.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Scott. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Boy, my internet is not great today, but cool. That was great. I have a question. How much are you able to see or hear right now? I feel like I'm going to be honest. I'm watching the bit rate, which is down here, swing up and down every 2 seconds. So I have no idea what's going on. I left till we get the script accepted. Yeah, basically. But have people been able to see or watch or hear what's been going on? We'll get this up on YouTube, by the way, real quick. So you'll be able to watch the whole thing on the VOD channel, and then we'll make a Doug edit as well. We're good now. It's good at the moment. You're a bit crusty. Let me hear you, okay. Now we're fine, but while you were interviewing, nothing. Come on, internet. Now it's totally fine. I wonder if it was screen sharing on Discord actually was slowing things down. That actually would make sense because the call never dropped with Scott. Yeah, like I could hear him the whole time. It just like couldn't send to. Oh my god, it just came back up. No, my internet just came back. Let me plug it in. All right. How's it now? Why is the music coming out of the headphones? What? Okay, how about now? Can you hear me now? Why is the bit rate still so bad? I'm on hardline. Oh, sorry, that's really loud. It's super laggy.